Good morning and welcome, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Dan Ekinen, Senior Director of Program Leadership for Special Olympics Michigan. And just want to say happy Spread the Word Inclusion Day. Today is a day where we celebrate inclusion for all and advocate for others to live an inclusive life where everyone has a place. And we know that you, the students, and the staff of our Unified Champion schools are the champions of change because you stand up every day in the name of acceptance and inclusion. And you, all of you, are the leaders of the inclusion revolution, that we're all a part of that movement. And so we're excited to jumpstart Spread the Word Inclusion Day with a thought-provoking speaker, as well as some inclusive activities to get all of you thinking of how you want to spread the word this year, today, and beyond. So we're going to jump into it. Before we do, just a reminder for those of you that just joined, there is a Q&A box at the bottom. If you have a question at any point, feel free to drop it in there for Brad, and we'll facilitate question and answer after he's done speaking. And so it's my pleasure to introduce our Unified Champion Schools Coordinator, Danielle Arnold, to introduce our speaker. So welcome, Danielle.
Thanks, Dan. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I am beyond honored to introduce our guest speaker. This is someone who has faced a lot of challenges in life, and throughout those challenges, he pushed forward to create change in his life and change in the world to make it all a better place. So on behalf of Special Olympics, I am lucky enough to introduce Brad Butler II today. Brad, I'll throw it to you.
Hey, okay. So I just want to make sure everybody is able to hear me. If you can hear me, just go ahead and throw a 1 in the chat. Just throw a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. You hear me well? Yep. What? There goes 1. There's another. There's another. Okay, 1. Somebody put an 11. That's cool. All right. Okay, great. Okay. So while we got that going, I got your Twitter fingers going, right? Let me ask you guys a quick question. If any of you know who I am, just put a 1 in the chat. Just entertain me one time. If you know who I am, put a 1 in the chat. Okay. What? Okay. Listen, I'm getting better. All right. Because I think I saw like 3 1s in the chat. I'm getting better. But it's okay. You guys don't know me. I don't know you guys either, but that's okay. But by the time this thing is done with, we're all going to get to know each other a little bit better. Is that okay with you guys? Cool. If that's okay with you, just go ahead and put a 2 in the chat for us to get to know each other a little bit better. Yep, there we go. Whole lot of 2s. Great. Okay, so I'm not going to waste you guys' time. We're going to get right into it. Okay, so I clearly understand that the theme for this specific event that you're having today, for the Special Olympics today, that we're having today is Champion of Change, right? So first things first, I want to thank everybody who had something to do, who played a role in me being here today and being able to present to you guys. I appreciate you guys. It means so much to me with all the things that I've done and gone through in my life to be where I am now. This means a huge, huge amount to me. You have no idea, right? So with the topic and the theme being champions of change, I understand that sometimes you might think to yourself, how can I be a champion of change and I'm still trying to just get a win every day? I'm just trying to get a single small win every day, right? Like a champion of change. When you think of champion of change, look, you can see the poster behind me. You know, that's a picture of Michael Jordan, right? It's Michael Jordan. Actually, it's mixed. It's a mixed picture. It's Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, and Michael Jackson all mixed into one picture. Like it's a customized picture. It's a beautiful thing, right? And I got it because of the fact that all those people in their industries in their own right, they were champions, right? So, and they were champions of change. And I get how hard it is to wake up every single day and say that you want to be a champion when there's so many things around you that can be going wrong. And a lot of times when people look at you, you smile and you greet them, but they have no idea what you're going through. They have no idea what life is like for you. And I was just like that. I want you to understand I was in the same boat that you are, where I understood that, like, I wanted to be a champion. I wanted to be great. I wanted to win. But there were so many things that I was dealing with that I was like, I don't even know how to start. How do you become a champion? How do I even win the day? Start with that. How do I even win the day, let alone become a champion? Okay, I'll give you my backstory. I'm originally from Jersey City, and I struggled because of the fact that my family had some ups and downs that they had to deal with. In the nicest way possible for me to say it, my mom and dad were urban pharmacists, right? They did some things, operated outside of the law, and because of that, there were consequences for it. My father ended up getting incarcerated, right? When he got out of jail, I was the first person he wanted to see. I'm his only son. And he made a vow that he would never do anything like that again for him to be incarcerated and be taken away from his family. Then, unfortunately, because we didn't have the money that we used to have, he fell victim, and my mother fell victim to abuse, drug abuse. And they struggled with that for years. Now, I'm thankful to say that to this day, they are clean. They've never touched any of those drugs again. They don't have any of those issues anymore. They are living great lives, right? Thankful for that. But it was a struggle for them that they had to overcome. Now, here's the crazy part. I just told you about some of the things that my mom and my dad had to overcome, right? Some of those things that they struggled with. The crazy part about it is that was their struggle. It wasn't even mine. My struggle started when I moved from Jersey City to East Windsor, New Jersey, from an urban community to a suburban community where I was a little bit different. And what happened was about 2 weeks into the school system, I ended up being placed in special ed classes. I spent 10 years in special ed classes. And the crazy part about it is, to this day, I remember the very first meeting that I had with the IEP directors and the teachers and my mom. I remember sitting down at the table, and they kept saying to me, Brad, we think it would be best for you to be in special ed classes. You need an IEP. And I remember the entire time I could not lift up my head. My head was down the entire time, and there was a pool of tears on the table in front of me. And I could not stop crying because I asked myself, what did I do that was so bad that you would put me in this situation? I'd never been in special ed classes before. But for whatever reason, I just felt like this was the end of the world for me. I didn't want to be called names. I didn't want to be called stupid, dumb, retarded, remedial. I didn't want people to judge me. I was trying. I was doing the best that I could. I wanted to be a champion of change, but I didn't know how. So I struggled with this for 10 years. And to make matters even worse, while I was in school, and I was struggling, working, asking questions, telling the teachers that I don't want to be in these classes. I can do better. If you just give me a chance, I know that I can. I wanted this opportunity to show people that I could do better. But there were some teachers who legitimately did not want to help me in that sense. Now, the majority of the teachers that I ran into, I would say 9 out of 10 of the teachers that I ran into, good teachers, great teachers. Did their job, came in every day with a smile on their face, helped as much as they could. But there were a few who told me things like I wasn't capable of going to college. And playing college football wasn't something that I could do. And unfortunately, when you hear negative information, sometimes it just sticks. And it makes you really feel like, man, maybe I can't. Maybe I can't do it. Maybe I'm not meant for more. Maybe I'm not a champion of change. Maybe I'm just a regular person who's just here. Whatever happens to me in life happens. Something happened one day. I don't know if you guys have ever reached like your limit, where like you were working really hard on something. You were doing all the right things, but for whatever reason, you just still weren't getting the result that you were looking for. I reached my limit one day in class. And I had a breakdown where I snapped in class and I said, I can't do this. Like, I'm not good at math. I can't do this work, man. Like you guys keep asking me to do this work and you know I'm not good at it, but you keep asking me to do it, man. I can't do this. I'm not perfect. I remember that I had a teacher who walked over to me and said, Brad, don't be perfect, be present. And it changed my thought process about everything. I started thinking that, wow, maybe if I just show up every day, I can get 1% better. The last time I checked, there were 7 days in the week. So if every day I'll show up, just working, trying to get better, I'll get 7% better. So I kept that thought process. And I started thinking to myself, wow, okay, I don't have a million teachers that support me, but I've got 2, Laura and Gleesa, Alicia Alexander. Those 2 teachers had an impact on my life that changed the trajectory of my future. They didn't look at me as a special ed student. They looked at me as a gifted human being who had things that I was supposed to share with the world. I was supposed to share my gifts with the world. And they weren't going to allow me to come into the school, come into their class every day, sulking and worrying about all the things that I didn't have, but they wanted me to have an attitude of gratitude about all the things that I did. And it changed things for me, changed my thought process. We started working together every day to make my dreams become a reality. And I'm thankful to tell you that I was able to graduate from high school. I still graduated in special ed classes. It is what it is. But it didn't break me. It built me. It built me. It gave me resiliency. It showed me that I had a level of grit that other people may not have. And because of that, I was able to go out into the world, get my degrees, play football at a high level. I was able to start my business and become a full-time motivational speaker, taking care of my wife, helping to take care of my family, showing them what's possible. And you can do the same exact thing. You work together with the individuals that are around you, that care for you, that love on you, that want to be there for you. And I promise you, it'll take your life to the next level. But you have to believe that you are a champion of change. So I'm going to leave you guys with the story. I don't know if you guys ever heard the story of the farmer and the 2 buckets. So one day there was a farmer. He got up and he got these 2 buckets and he put them together and he filled them up with water. He would always go down to the stream, fill them up with water so he could bring them back to his farm so he could water his plants. But the problem is, one bucket was perfect. The other bucket had a crack in it. And he would fill up these 2 buckets every day. And he would carry them, fill them all the way up to the brim and walk with these buckets all the way back to his farm so he could water his plants. And every day when he would come back to his farm to water his plants, the one bucket that was perfect had all the water in it, but the other bucket with the crack in it only had about maybe half of the water left in it. And the bucket got so mad one day and said to the farmer, he said, I'm not perfect. I'm not like the other bucket. I have a crack and I spill water every day. I never make it back here with all the water in the bucket so that I can water the other plants like the perfect bucket. And the farmer stopped and he said, I want to show you something. So he picked up the bucket, picked up the cracked bucket and said, I want to show you something. And he walked that bucket down the path that they go down every single day. He said, do you see these flowers that are along this pathway? The cracked bucket said, yeah, I see them. He said, great. These flowers are only here because of the crack that you have in your bucket. If it wasn't for the crack in your bucket watering this way, we wouldn't have all these beautiful flowers for us to look at. You think that your imperfection is something that is the worst thing in the world. No, maybe you might have a quote unquote imperfection, but you were made perfectly. It's not about being perfect, but putting forth a perfect effort every single day. I know that each and every last one of you have a gift inside of you. And you might look at yourself in the mirror and you might listen to what other people say. And they say things along the lines of, you're not perfect, and your hair looks like this, and your nose looks like this, and you dress like this, and you look like that, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. And they're so worried about the things that you, quote unquote, can't do, or what's not perfect about you, that they miss all the beautiful and gifted things about you that were only made for you. I learned a long time ago that I had these beautiful and vivid dreams in my mind. And I would go and I would tell other people about these dreams that I had. And they would literally tell me, friends, family members, people I love would tell me, you can't do that. You were in special ed classes, Brad, for 10 years. You can't do that. And I quickly realized that my dreams were given to me because I'm the only one that can make them happen. I'm the only one that can make them become a reality. That's why those dreams were given to me and nobody else. You have dreams in your mind. You have special gifts. Some of you have gifts that I will never have. I'll never be able to attain. But you can do it. You have gifts. You have areas of expertise that you are going to impact and shock the world. You'll become a champion of change as long as you step into your purpose and believe in yourself. I had to be my first cheerleader. I had to stand up and shout with the pom-poms and say, yeah, B-Rad, you can do it. You can have it. You can be whatever it is that you choose to be. Once you start believing it, it will start happening for you. Surround yourself with individuals who love and care for you and want to be there for you. They want to see you doing well. They want to see you unlock all your potentials, because I do. I want to see it. I love when I see people using their gifts to the best of their ability. I love when I see people overcoming adversity. People call me the adversity assassin, because every time there's an obstacle, every time there's an issue that comes in the way, I make it my personal business to slay it. I will not let the adversity get to my family. I will not let it get to my family and my wife and my friends and my community. I'm going to show the world what I'm capable of doing. I'm going to show the world that if I can do it, someone who struggled with reading, writing, basic mathematics, comprehension. I didn't even want to stand in front of the classroom and read out loud. I would tremble and shake in fear. I was that kid that always had to go to the bathroom when it was time for me to read. I would get anxiety when I had to take math tests. But I fought through it. I never quit. I believed those who said that I was capable of doing more. Every time my father said, don't worry, you'll get better. Don't worry, things will get better. Every time my mom said, don't worry, you can do it. My grandmother used to always tell me, my grandson is a genius. I said, Grandma, how? She said, don't you worry about it. I know that. I know that my grandson is a genius. And one day you're going to prove it to the world. Let me tell you something. Every last one of you on this call, you're here for a reason. You are here to get this message. And I want you all to know that you are all geniuses in your own right, in your own way, shape, or form. But if you judge everybody the same exact way, it makes it hard for everybody to step into that genius quality, that genius mindset, that champion mindset. And I know that you all are capable of it, because you are all champions of change. You are all more than capable of shocking the world and letting them know just how powerful you are. I believe it, and I can't wait to see it. So to everybody on this call, I love you. I appreciate you for being here. I look forward to you being a champion of change. And if you don't remember anything that I've said to you today, I leave you with this, and I hope that you will remember it. Be careful of your thoughts, because your thoughts become your words. Be careful of your words, because your words become your actions. Be careful of your actions, because your actions become your habits. Be careful of your habits, because your habits become your legacy. And that is how the world will remember you. Listen, my name It's Brad, B-Rad Butler II. And I encourage every last one of you to make your next day your best day, because the work you've done today is not enough to get you through tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to seeing all of you as the new and improved future champions of change. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Brad. Again, just want to remind everyone, if you have questions, please drop them in the question and answer box. I've got one question that was sent to me, and kind of in our conversation prior to this, you've got a pretty incredible athletic career as well. How did sports play a role in your journey going from that student that's sitting in that IEP meeting with their head down to where you're at today?
Well, one thing that I actually learned down the line is that playing sports it's about 10% physical, it's 90% mental. If you have mental toughness and you understand the game that you're playing, then you'll know how to navigate. So I know you guys can't see it really, through the video, but I'm only 5'8". And the most I've ever weighed in my life is 160 pounds. And I played football. I played defense. I hit people. Like, I tackle people. That was my job, right? And once I learned the game, I understood how to play from the neck up instead of the neck down. It made the game a whole lot easier for me. I'm thankful to say that I have never sustained any physical injuries, like any bad ones, maybe like a pulled hamstring or a rolled ankle, something along those lines. But thank goodness I've never had a situation where I needed surgery or anything like that. Why? Because I chose to play the game from the neck up. I made sure I was like, oh, that doesn't look good. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to stay away from that type of thing. I'm going to stay in the game. That's how I was able to start. That's how I was able to build a long track record with playing the sport, because I would see people do certain things. And I'm like, that's not smart. I wouldn't do that with my body. They would do other things, like they would drink. Some people would smoke. I'm like, what are you doing? How are you gonna play properly? And your thought process is impaired. It doesn't make sense. Drinking, smoking, doing all types of drugs, that doesn't make sense. You can't do that. So I always made a kind of conscious decision to keep my body pure and just, focus on the sport itself. I already had a disadvantage the way my body was. Like, I wasn't going to go ahead and be mentally impaired too, where I couldn't understand what was going on. So I think my mental toughness is the thing that really helped me to just do as much as I was able to do.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Some of our students fill out questions ahead of time that they wanted you to answer. So while they think of others and drop them in the question box, I'll ask you some of those. So our students on this call participate in unified sports and different unified opportunities where students with and without disabilities come together to play sports, to lead together. So one of our students asked, what was your high school experience like? Were there unified classes, opportunities, sports, or clubs that fostered inclusion? What did that look like for you?
Honestly, I don't believe that I saw many situations where they had unified sports and things of that nature. Now, was the school inclusive? Yes. There was no shame or anything like that. The students who had other accommodations that they needed, like wheelchairs and aids and things of that nature, the school made it, pretty important for them to feel like they were like everyone else. I made sure that, me being a special ed student, I know how it felt to feel excluded. Like, literally, there were times where I would actually come to school and I'd just be walking through the hallway, got my book bag on and walking to class. And there'll be a teacher who would stop me and say, excuse me, do you go to the school? I was like, yeah, I'm a junior. I've been here but because I was in special ed classes and I was only around these teachers over in this trailer area away from everybody else, they didn't even know I was an actual student. They didn't know that I was actually, and then they'll look at me and like, what's your name? Brad Butler? They're like, oh, you play football. Yeah. That's the only way that I was always shocked by that. I was like, oh my goodness, like, they don't even know that I go here. But the school made it inclusive for those who had any type of disabilities and things of that nature, but there weren't any specific schools or clubs that I saw, and that needs to change.
Thank you for sharing. We also had a question that says, how do you think students can be champions of change? We know it seems hard and overwhelming, but how do you think students can make those small changes? Or
Well,
big
it starts
changes?
with your mind. First thing, it starts with your mind, your thought process. You have to believe that you can be a champion of change. The way that I got started with speaking is that I believed that my story was strong enough and potent enough to be able to connect with the hearts and minds of individuals that were around me. I had to believe that, okay, Brad, if you don't tell your story, then other people are going to be hurt. They're not going to believe that they can do more. There's a kid out there who has special needs, and they're not going to believe that they can go to college or play a sport or own a business if you don't tell them that they can, if you don't show them that you've done it. So I live by something called the 3 T's. Without trial, there's no triumph. Without triumph, there's no testimony. So I wanted to make sure that I was example for that. So the first thing is changing the way that you think about it. The second thing is actually taking action. You got to try. You got to go out there and just do it. They call it failing forward. Okay, this is my latest speaking engagement, but my very first one, well, might not have been as powerful. I remember speaking with my phone propped up against a mirror in my bathroom, and just doing the best that I could. And I started from there, and I built from there, and I got better and better each year. Why? Because I stayed consistent, and what I was doing, the purpose of what I was doing was more important than the feelings that I was going through. Most people don't understand that your feelings have nothing to do with the facts. I know you feel bad because you got a bad grade, but why did you get a bad grade? The fact of the matter is maybe we didn't study the way that we should have, or maybe we didn't put in the time that we should have. Once you start breaking it down that way, you start putting the onus on yourself and saying, you know what, I can do better.
Awesome, thank you. I have a few more if you're up for them.
Oh, come on.
All right. How hard was it trying to prove yourself to others?
Oh, I don't know if it was so hard to prove myself to others. I had to prove it to myself first. It was actually, okay, I'm trying to tell you guys, it was actually recording the video and then staring at the Instagram post with my finger hovering over the post button. I'm like, oh boy, I just reverted all the way back to that little kid, in special ed classes. Like, they're going to call me retarded. They're going to call me stupid. Well, I'm just going to have to be stupid. Bam, we're doing this. So it was like, once I did it, it was like, the world actually isn't as bad as you think it is. A lot of stuff, you make it up in your mind. Oh man, they're not gonna like me. Yeah, your crowd, your community, they will find you. I don't know how they find you, but somehow the internet works like that. Miss Jamie, I don't know how you guys found me, but you found me. And I'm so glad that you did. So it's just a matter. Imagine if I didn't tell my story and no one put my story out there for you guys to find me. I couldn't do that on my own. But if you put yourself out there, the world will reward you for it. And you just gotta keep going. You gotta keep trying. You gotta put the blockers on and just say, nope, tunnel vision. I'm going. We're gonna make this thing happen. It has to work, or it has to work. I learned that from my guy, Nehemiah Davis. He said it has to work or it has to work.
We have one in the chat now from Nicole that says, in our classroom, we have students with a variety of disabilities, and we do a lot of disability awareness activities so they can communicate their needs to their employers, other kiddos, etc. They're curious if you have a learning disability or ADHD.
Technically, yes. I do have a learning disability. I have a IEP. So what they said about me was that Brad has a hard time verbalizing his thoughts. And he struggled with concentration. Like, so I'd be writing or taking notes and somebody would walk past the door and I'd look, squirrel. Oh, I just have one of those moments. And what I realized is that maybe I've never been tested for ADHD or ADD or dyslexia, which, sometimes I was like, do I have dyslexia? Because I've actually written letters backwards before. And I think that came from a traumatic experience where I drew this really nice picture, right? I can draw, I'm really good at art. So I drew this nice picture, and at the top of it, the character's name was Wild Wing. And I wrote Wild Wing. And I didn't realize that I wrote the D backwards. So it was a B instead of a D. And I spent all this time coloring it and making it look good. And my sister laughed at me for a week about that. And it stuck in my mind. So every time I would go to write a B, I would write a D. Or write a D, I would write a B. Even to this day, it even happens randomly. It will randomly happen. I'll go to write my name. My name is Brad Butler. That's 2 B's. So I'll go, and there's a D in there. So I'll go to write my name, and I'm like, CG. My sister's name is CG. I'm like, CG. And that's why I use pencils. So there's things like that have happened to me. And when you embrace it, you can laugh and you can smile about it. Be like, yeah, okay, I'm not the best at that, but I am really good at dancing. I am really good at singing. I am really good at speaking. I am really good at this. And you just, oh, I wasn't meant to be a great writer. I don't care. I can write. I still have the ability to do it, but I was meant to be an orator. I was meant to stand up in front of thousands of people and speak life into them. That is what I was meant to do. I'm so blessed because 98% of the people in the world, they have a fear of public speaking. I was not born with that. Soon as I came out the womb, I was like, give me the mic. I want to talk to somebody. Grab the mic, boom, get on stage. I'm ready to go. And I just don't have that fear. I'm always ready. I'm energized. The more people you put around me, the bigger the energy that you get, right? It's just like, I don't know what it is. It's like a battery source or something like that, full of energy. And the more people that are around me, I feed off their energy. It's like, I guess if I was a singer or a dancer or an entertainer on stage, like the bigger the stadium, the bigger the people there, the more energy you get from me. It's just crazy. Now I'm still gonna give a lot of energy if it's a small group of people, but you give me a big room of people and I'm gonna blow the top off that thing. So I just realized what I was good at and I leaned on it heavily. And the things that I'm not necessarily good at, I go get help.
Love that. Thank you. One last question. What challenge are you proudest of yourself for overcoming?
I am the biggest challenge. Wow, that is a really good one. Because I've overcome so many different things that I never thought that I would. It's just which one's next? What's the next hurdle for me to overcome? Because once you overcome something, you look back at it like, I was scared of that. What? So, okay, I guess the first one would most likely be when I got my associate's degree. I'll go with that because I was so nervous and scared being on a campus and doing college level work that I was told that I would not be capable of doing. And I didn't have anybody there to guide me or hold my hand. I'd never really written an essay before when I was in high school. I was in special ed classes, so they just didn't really push us that hard. I was trying to push myself. I'm like, give me something else. And they're like, no, Brad, this is enough. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm trying to get out of here. Like, so when I got to college, it was a complete 180. Soon as I got in there, the professor was like, yeah, that's not good enough. And I was like, wow, my feelings are hurt, but same thing I said before, not about your feelings, it's about the facts. And I had to look at the paper and say, yep, you did turn it in a day late, Brad. And you did pull an all-nighter trying to do this. And that's not a word. Yeah, so that's a red mark going through there. So it was a lot of things where I went back and I said, okay, you have to do some work. And when I realized that if I just showed up every day to the tutor, if I showed up every day in class and I sat in the front row and I just listened and was attentive, and while I was an active listener, that I can pick up this information and I can start to show them that I am capable, I am college material. And from that point on, I said, nope, you can't tell me what I can and can't do, because I graduated from there and got my degree. And I immediately was like, hey, my mom was in the middle of a celebration. And I was like, Mom, I'm going to a 4-year college. And she's like, what? Oh, I mean, yeah, but I mean, can I celebrate this one first? I'm like, nah, don't even worry about it. I'm going to a 4-year. And then I ended up getting a master's degree. Who would have known? And now I have professors that were like, Brad, your thought process is so great, man. You'd be a great person for a PhD program. And I was like, who is going to pay for that? I need a fellowship. Somebody's got to give me a scholarship or something like that. I need that. That's too much money.
Awesome. One last question. So I think we often say that, when it comes to Unified Champion Schools and the great work our students and teachers are doing, it's best told by their stories, from their eyes. What advice would you give students and teachers about just telling their story, to others?
It makes you relatable. It makes you human. That's the problem. There's so many people who walk around and you see the success that they have. Like you look on Instagram and you look on all these different social media platforms. And I've been in some of the rooms with some of these people, whether you guys know it or not. I know you guys, like you said earlier, you guys don't know me. It's cool. I gotta understand. But we know each other a little bit better now. But I've been in a room with some of these individuals who, they make a lot of money and they have a lot of followers and things like that. And sometimes what you see on Instagram and on social media is not the same as what you see in real life. So there aren't as many people who are genuine. Their core values and their character is aligned, and their integrity. You never have to worry about catching me in the club. You never have to worry about catching me smoking or drinking. You never have to worry about me doing anything that's going to, tear down my brand or make you disappointed. Like if I give that presentation and you loved it, you were inspired by it, I don't want to let you down. That is a part of my brand. So I try to live it each and every day. So for you guys, we need more individuals like that. We need more people that are real, that can talk about how they had these ups and downs that they went through and that their life was not a golden stair. And then there was some struggles. There were some things that they weren't good at and they had to work on. Like I want Steph Curry to come out and say, listen, there was a time period where I really was terrible at shooting threes, but I worked on it. And now I'm the best to ever do it. And there was a time when people said that Brad Butler II has a hard time verbalizing his thoughts. And now I'm on the road to potentially be one of the best to ever do this as an orator. That is my goal. And you can do it too.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Very well said. Just want to say thank you again from all of us here in Michigan and all of our schools. Incredible story of resilience and determination and how those small wins can lead to being a champion of change. So thank you, Brad. Virtual round of applause from everybody to you. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you so much. As honor you feel that it is to have me here, it's been an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to be able to serve you and your whole community. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I hope that you all will be able to follow me on Instagram, or I can use some help on YouTube. Help me out. It's just Brad Butler II. So I appreciate you. I love you. And I'm looking forward to the next time. And hopefully I'll be able to see you guys and do this thing in person. And I promise to bring the fire and all that energy and all that passion and purpose in person. And it's going to be a great event, a great opportunity. And I'm so looking forward to it. So thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. I'll see you guys next time. Make your next day your best day.
Thanks again. And for all of our schools that are on, we're excited to purchase. We're going to purchase some of Brad's books that he authored and share those with all of you. So we'll be sending a copy to everyone. And we wanted to take the next little bit of today, take some of Brad's energy and his excitement and lead it with some inclusive activities. So it's my privilege to introduce Kayla Kaczynski, our Unified Champion Schools coordinator, and she's going to lead us in some inclusive leadership.
Thanks, Dan. Hello, good morning, everyone. It'll be hard to follow Brad, but I hope that we can kind of take all of his messages and kind of reflect on them and mobilize us forward to kind of put today to action. It's important to spread the word inclusion, but it's more important to live inclusion, to be that champion of change. So that's what we're going to focus on next. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here. And we're going to do that through a Kahoot. I'm sure you'll know the drill with these. But if you don't, there's two ways you can join us here. It's going to load. All right, so you can either go to kahoot.it and type in the game pin that's on the screen, 2006595, or you can just scan the QR code at the top. We got Captain Mouse, Mystery Dolphin, Mighty Lizard, Genius Hawk. I love these names. Keep them coming. I'll give us a few minutes to get on here. Fearless Goose in the house. Eager Shark, Sturdy Jaguar, Silly Duck. I like that one. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Adorable Possum. How cute. I'll turn up the Kahoot music. That's the best part. Loving all these. Balanced Possum. Smiling Otter. We're up to 66. 73. So many of you. Love to see it. All right, a few more seconds. Still got people joining in. We'll give them time. We'll give them time. All right, give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you didn't make it in, play with a friend next to you or just follow along and talk about it as a pair, wherever you are. And we're going. Okay. So our very first question today is, as Brad was saying, we all have our own unique gifts, strengths, talents. So I want you to think about and write a word that your friends would use to describe you, or a talent or a strength you have. So I'm looking for one word that describes you. It's something you're good at. It's a talent of yours, something unique to you. Just one word we're looking for that describes you or is a talent or strength that you have. All right, let's see what we got. Positive, honest, empathetic, energetic, weatherman. Who's our future weatherman in here? Funny, kind, happy, caring. I love these. So the bigger the word, the more we saw it. So I want you to look at this and think about how on this diagram, we have so many different words. We have so many different things that describe us, that make us different, that make us unique, that bring our different strengths and abilities to a group. And we're not all the same, and that's okay. So now with this next one, I want you to think, like we just saw, we're all different. We all have these different strengths and abilities we bring to a group. And when we come together, that's what inclusion looks like, when we pool our strengths and abilities. Which photo of these, 1, 2, 3, or 4, represents that? What shows inclusion, us pooling our different abilities? 4, yeah, 4 is the right answer. You saw a big circle with a bunch of different little colored dots inside of them. That's showcasing that we all have those different attributes or talents. Where some of us are going to be weatherman, some of us are really kind, empathetic, energetic. Some of us are great public speakers. Some of us don't want the mic. Some of us are really great at math. Some of us want nothing to do with it. We all have something unique about us that we can bring to groups, that we can bring to the world, to our schools, to make it better, to be those champions of change. And when we pool those together, we can be even stronger. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? Okay. So the next question, we're going to do a little brainstorm. All right, we got Amazon Horse in the lead. Not necessarily a competition, but love to see the enthusiasm, Amazon Horse. All right, so after today, I want us to think about how we're going to spread inclusion. Like we said, it's not enough to talk about it, but we have to do it. So I want you to think of something that you can do, something tangible you can do to spread inclusion. Something I liked that Brad said is just empowering someone and believing in their dreams and telling them that they can do it and believing in them. That's a great way to spread inclusion and get people to believe in themselves, be that champion of change. So you can write up to 3 ideas in this brainstorm. You can submit 1, 2, 3, whichever feels right to you. So thinking of something tangible you can do to spread inclusion. Maybe it's sitting with someone new at lunch, inviting someone to join your unified team. Look at all those ideas populating. Think of something you can do to be that champion of change. Keep them kind, keep them appropriate. What are you going to do to be that champion of change and spread inclusion? I'm excited to see these. You guys have a lot of ideas. I love it. How are you going to use those gifts, those strengths to make change, to be a leader, to include others? We have 20 more seconds. Ten seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's check them out. Sorting, sorting, sorting. Give someone a compliment, be nice, be kind. Make posters, tell people they're kind, help people, volunteer, compliment people, smile at people even if you don't know them, encourage people, spread kindness, reach out to other people that you don't normally talk to, embrace and encourage diversity, vocalize how you feel about others, include others when they seem to have no one else around, wear an inclusion bracelet, talk to everyone, get people free Chipotle. You can get me free Chipotle. I'll be your person. Smile, speak, include everyone. I love these. These are amazing. Say hi to people in the hallway. Introduce yourself to someone new. Play unified basketball. Speak up, empower someone. Start at school and make it a better environment. Yes, be a champion at school. Make sure everyone has someone to play with. Join the game. I could go on forever. I love reading these. These are amazing. Thank you for putting such great thought into them and for being those leaders and champions of change that are going to spread inclusion back in your schools. All right, so we're going to go on to the next slide. And what we're going to do is this spread the word inclusion, champions of change is not exclusive to us Unified Champion Schools in Michigan people, not even just to the United States. This is a global campaign where people today on March 2nd, all over the world, come together to commit to pledging to spread inclusion together. So you can exit out of the Kahoot and scan this QR code now. And this is going to take you to the Spread the Word Inclusion website, where you can take the pledge or promise to spread inclusion in whichever way you'd like. So if you want to fill this out, take the pledge to show others all across the world that you're pledging to spread inclusion and be that champion of change. You can write your name on it. You don't have to write your city, email address, any of that, just your name. And then the part that says, tell us how you plan to be more inclusive. And it starts your sentence with, I pledge to spread inclusion by, and guess what? We just did the hard work. We just did the brainstorm in the last slide. So you can either write the same thing you wrote in the last question, or if you saw something someone else said that you really love, that really stuck with you, resonated with you, that you want to do to spread inclusion, you can write that. So I'll give us a few minutes. You're just filling out the pledge to show that you are pledging to spread inclusion in your school, community, homes, wherever it may be. So just your name and how you pledge to spread inclusion is perfect. Well, give us a few seconds. I think we need a little music for a second. Give you about 30 seconds.
May you have auspiciousness and causes of success. May you have the confidence to always do your best. May you take no effort in your being generous. Sharing what you can, nothing more, nothing less. May you know the meaning of the word happiness. May you always lead from the beating in your chest. May you be treated like an esteemed guest. May you get to rest. May you catch your breath. Oh, may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Whoa, oh, may the road less paved be the road that you follow. Whoa, well.
All right. Hopefully you have filled out the pledge. If not, keep typing while I talk through this next slide. That is totally okay. So on this next one, we have another QR code, and this is to a submission form for a contest that we're hosting. And this is the What Inclusion Means to Me creative contest. So we kind of talked about today what inclusion means, giving everyone space to be themselves, use their talents to make change, to be a part of a larger group and community. We talked about how we can spread inclusion, what we can do to be those champions of change. But sometimes inclusion looks a little different and means something different to all of us, and that's okay. So what this is a contest that you can submit to show us what inclusion and living unified means to you. And that can be done in any way that you're showcasing your talents, your strengths. Like Brad was saying, he never wanted to be an author. He was never a great writer. Maybe you are, and maybe you want to write an essay or a poem. Or maybe you're a better public speaker and you like being in front of people, like he was saying. So maybe you record a video or a skit. Anything that you want to do to showcase what living unified means to you while using your talents would be awesome. You can do it as an individual, you can do it as a unified pair, or if your whole school unified group wants to get together and do something and submit as a group, that's okay too. We have some really cool prizes for some of the top submissions. Some of those are a Detroit Lions practice jersey, Detroit Lions signed mini helmets, some gift cards, Sew Me swag, really cool stuff. So we'd love to hear what living unified means to you, what inclusion means to you. I hope that today was a good start to thinking about that. So that is an opportunity for you. You can get the submission form and all the information here, or your teachers have it in their newsletter as well. And I'm sure they'd be happy to share that with you. One more thing for you is that we're starting to create a Unified Champion School student newsletter. So we want to be able to send you opportunities like the inclusion, what inclusion means to me contest, different grant opportunities, different events or volunteer opportunities coming up. So if you scan this QR code, I'm going QR code crazy today. If you scan this one, you can fill out your name, your email, and which school you go to, and we'll add you to that mailing list. And right after this, I will send you the information for the What Inclusion Means to Me contest, if you're interested in showing us what it means to you and using your talents to do so. All right, I hope you've had enough time to fill out the pledge to show that you are ready to spread inclusion and be a champion of change. I really appreciate you all putting such great thought and energy into the Kahoot and the brainstorms. And I'm really excited for what comes after this. I'm really excited to hear about the awesome inclusion campaigns, inclusion weeks, and the things that you're doing in your school to be those champions of change and to spread inclusion. So I'm going to send it back to Dan to round us out for the day.
Thank you, Kayla. Just want to say thank you all so much for joining us today. Another big round of applause and appreciation to Brad for taking his time to share with us. Spread the word Inclusion Day. So today's an important day for our movement and for the inclusion revolution, but it's not the most important day. I think the most important days are what you all do every day in your classrooms, in your hallways, spreading inclusion, including others, choosing to play unified and live unified. So as you leave here today, keep that in mind and continue to lead the inclusion revolution forward. And we thank you all for joining us. Have a great day today. Thanks so much.